WPA2 encryptions, and also, of course, how we can crack them. So what I did was I went into my router's administrator dashboard, as you can see, because we're going to have to change our encryption to be WPA. If you remember previously, we changed this to be WEP. Now I'm going to go WPA or WPA2. It doesn't matter, by the way. So my password is XXXYY123. So I suggest you follow along with me and just use the same password right now. Of course, you can try the other passwords later on. Right now, I'm just going to go with this password. So let's talk about the WPA a little bit. So if you remember the WEP, of course, these are all the same. We still have the requests and responses going from one client to the router and router to the internet, and router actually does all these things for us. But in WEP, we have these initialization vectors, and if we can gather initialization vectors in a sufficient way, like maybe 5,000 IVs or 10,000 IVs, then it would be very easy for us to crack the password using the aircrack-ng, because it can actually repeat itself because it's very short, and we can crack the password using this technique. However, WPA does not contain that vulnerability. In the previous times, the researchers found out that WEP wasn't secure enough, so they actually came up with the WPA and WPA2. By the way, these are two different kind of encryption. So WPA uses one algorithm and WPA2 uses another algorithm. But in order to crack those, we use the same technique. So we can actually talk about the WPA and WPA2 interchangeably when we explain things in this lecture. Okay, so if I say WPA, then you can assume I'm talking about WPA2 or WPA. So in the WPA, we still have some keys, of course, in order to encrypt the packets. However, these keys are produced temporarily right now, and they're not sent like in a pure format or a clear text format. So you cannot gather them. So even if you can actually store like 10,000 packets or 1 million packets, it won't make a difference because we don't have kind of things like IVs or any kind of vulnerability that we can easily crack this password to. So what we're going to do instead, let me go into the WPA section. We're going to need two things in order to crack the password. First, we're going to actually capture something called a handshake. And later on, we're going to need something called word list. So what is a handshake? So this is the packet that we're trying to gather right now. So when a client or like a device like our phone or tablet or computer, when a client connects with the router or connects inside of the network by giving the password, I'm not talking about the fake authentication, but the real authentication. So when they connect, so 4 packets actually are being transmitted at that point. So these packets are called handshakes, and it's called 4-way handshake. So this is to actually confirm that there is nothing wrong, the authentication is successful, but there is a hint in that handshake. So we cannot actually extract the password or just to see the password using those handshakes. But if we can give the right password, then the handshake will say us, yep, this is the right password. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to try a lot of passwords. So you can say that, yeah, if I know the real password, then I can actually obviously log into the network. How I'm going to do this? Am I going to like try like 1,000 or maybe 100,000 passwords in order to crack this? Yes, that is exactly the situation. So word list stands for that term. So we're going to have to create a word list or a TXT file that contains possible passwords. So you can think that, yeah, if I'm going to do that, why not? Why bother? We can just go and try passwords one by one from our phone or from our computer, right? Of course, you can do that as well, but it will take so much time. So you're going to have to use your CPU or GPU in order to efficiently try those passwords in order to substantially decrease the amount of time that you need for this process, right? Even though we're going to do this with the AirPlay-ng and AeroDump-ng, all the things that we have used before, it's still going to take so much time. You're going to see what I mean. And for creating the word list, we're going to use something called Crunch, and of course we're going to use aircrack-ng one more time. So I'm going to explain how to create word lists or how to find word lists that are ready, like you can just click it in and start using it. Don't worry about it. But right now I'm just going to open my Linux, change my keyboard, and run iwconfig. As you can see, I have my wireless card, wireless adapter connected over here. So I'm going to start the monitor mode here as well. So that's exactly what we need right now, because eventually I'm going to run the AeroDump-ng, and here you go, I'm in the monitor mode. So as usual, I'm going to go for AeroDump-ng WLAN OMON, and if you have a different interface name, please go for it. And that's exactly what I had in mind. So I see the Academy Club right now, and the encryption changed to be WPA2. So it means that we are inside of this, and I see the BSS ID and all the other information here as well. So if you came to the screen, please feel